Well, good morning, everyone, or could be, I guess, afternoon for some folks out there, depending on what part of the country or the world you may be in. My name's Jeff Rubenstein. Thanks, you guys, for being here. I have a very, very special guest with me today. You can see him over on the, actually, it'd be this way, wouldn't it? I have Mr. Kirtus Dixon with us today with eXp Realty. He's also the Expand Mentor Program Director. But Kirtus, you didn't join the company as the program director, did you?
Jeff, good morning, good afternoon. What's going on, man? No, you're right. I've been with eXp Realty for almost 2.5 years now. Excited to be with you today, man. But no, I didn't join the company as a corporate employee. I kind of, I guess, manifested that opportunity, right, with sort of my dreams and my vision personally and professionally. But I'm still a realtor with eXp, still hang my license. And really glad to say that my wife just got her license. So she's joining real estate team because as a corporate employee responsible for new agent training and all the different things I do, I don't really have as much time to run the real estate business full time anymore, right? So what do you do when you run out of that? You create some leverage and keep your vision rolling there and then building the dream over here with eXp Realty, man.
That is so cool. So you're still a licensed real estate agent, but because of the fact that you transitioned from a real estate agent into a corporate position, you still don't have the ability to necessarily go out and sell homes, but it makes sense for your wife to come in to pick up that piece of the business. So you didn't stop your real estate business. You transitioned your personal piece in it to a corporate position with eXp and then continue to run your real estate business allowing your wife to take over. Is that pretty accurate?
Absolutely right, man. I mean, we say it all the time, or I say it all the time to my fellow agents and friends. And hopefully you guys are thinking like this on this Friday morning. Like, you got to think like a business owner. You know, if you're a real estate professional and you have a platform to build a business, you have to think about it like a business. And as a business owner, there may be times where you're not able to be in the day-to-day or operation of the business any longer in a significant way. So you think about putting systems in place to give yourself that freedom to go on and do whatever it is you're going to do with your time instead, right? And so that's definitely how I think about it. You know, I've leveraged what eXp Realty allows me to do as an agent business owner to put a team in place and still have a sales business going and still be able to be a part of it, still lead it, still reap some of the rewards of having that. But at the same time, yeah, man, I pour in my full time and heart into really agent training and development at eXp. So that's what I do now full time on the corporate side. You know, that Expand Mentor program that you mentioned, that's our mentoring program. That's part of our eXp University. And it's given basic training and mentoring support to thousands of agents at the brokerage all across the country.
Right. And I love it because as a certified mentor myself with eXp, I've been able to experience the high level of not only the education, but the processes and systems that go into how the education has been created for new agents, for non-producing agents, and for producing agents who are doing exactly what you just mentioned, moving from selling homes, the mindset of selling homes, being a realtor, to running a business, to building a business, and leverage, of course, is a big piece of that. Kirtus, tell me a little bit about, prior to joining eXp, tell me a little bit about your real estate background, sales history, those types of things. And as you transition into eXp Realty, a few reasons why you joined eXp Realty and what's come to fruition since you've been there. I know it's a whole bunch wrapped into one.
I'd love to. That's all right, man. I'll unpack it. I'll unpack it. So I'll go back a little ways before we get to real estate, because the story is always important, right? It always matters kind of how and why we got here and what we were looking for when we got here. That sort of informs what you found when you got here, right? And so I'll go back all the way almost 20 years. So I'm a science and kind of nerd by background. So I was a petroleum engineer. That's what I did in college. That's what I went to school for. So I've got that engineering brain.
So we used to say that you pumped gas, right? The petroleum engineer, right?
We popped the holes in the ground and extracted it, right? It was a little different process. But
right.
No, I mean, I just tell that story though, because I think it's important where we come from, how we think. You talked about mindset, paradigms, all that stuff is really what drives our actions and behavior, right? So after engineering, fast forward through kind of a corporate life where I did a lot of things on the business and sales and leadership development side, right? Did the whole corporate thing, went out on my own as an entrepreneur about 10 years ago. And it wasn't in real estate. So my first foray into entrepreneurship was in technology startups in Austin, Texas. So I launched a number of companies. I wore that CEO hat. I wore that janitor hat. Like I wore everything in between. And my favorite startup where I ended up in life in that world was an education startup. I'm very passionate about education, professional development. It was professional development for adults. And man, that was my dream come true 10 years ago. And various reasons, startups fail, startups succeed. We had some good success, but ended up on kind of a couple more steps down my journey still as an entrepreneur. And real estate was always something I wanted to get to. I always said, once I have my businesses up and running and I've got my life going the way I want it, I'm going to be in real estate. Maybe as an investor, never thought about residential home sales. That wasn't exactly the path I knew I'd end up on. Can't say I did know that. But when I finally got to real estate, my mindset was a little different. You know, when I finally got my license and decided I was going to go into real estate, day one, my goal was I was looking to create a business. And when you're looking to create a business, what you explore are business models, right? Mm-hmm. So I was looking for a business model that worked. And so the first business model I tried in real estate was I tried being part of an independent brokerage. And so I helped a good friend of mine by the name of Kyle Handy. He was younger than I was. He was building his real estate business. I was coming out of building businesses. I said, let's build this thing together. Business model was the first thing we worked on. So we ran an independent brokerage. We ran a traditional 50-50 split team. We grew to 15 agents. We had a high, production sales team. We were chasing that $70, $100 million sales goal. We were trying to climb that production ladder as an independent brokerage in our city. And what I found was the models that existed out there that were sort of the templates, right? We did everything, MREA, everything under the sun. The models were really built to have you pursue high growth, high volume. If you could get there, you could generate profit as a real estate business owner. High growth, high volume, if you were going to build a team. The other model was the independent successful agent model, right? There was those two models. And we were in between those two models, right? We were racking up expenses. We were hiring agents. We were selling houses. But that profitability and that opportunity that we had started pursuing still seemed a decade away, right? It still seemed, how are we going to expand beyond our city? How are we going to expand beyond our state? So the opportunity we were pursuing really wasn't achievable in the near term in that model, right? And so I'm kind of long form getting to your answer to your question.
That's okay, but it makes sense because it gives us that background on the whys, and when we know what the whys are, we figure the whats. So
absolutely, man. So my scientist brain, a quest for progress. That's still how I live my life. Like my wife and I have been best friends for 20 years. We have 3 kids. Everything we talk about on a daily basis is how do we make progress towards these opportunities we're pursuing, right? And so we're running our independent brokerage. We've got a sales team. We're now at this point kind of partners. I'm doing a little profit sharing. We're building this brokerage together. And then along comes this beautiful cruise ship called eXp Realty, right? And you can hear the party on the ship. You can smell the food. You imagine it's probably open bar in there. And when you find out, there's just an analogy, guys, there's no drinks inside the brokerage, but it's a party, right? And I hear that loud and clear. And I'm like, man, that model seems pretty interesting. That model, the eXp Realty model, seems like it might get us to that opportunity that feels a decade away in 3 to 5 years. That's some progress, right? Shorten that cycle as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. If you maintain an open mind and you keep your eyes open, opportunities will present themselves. And so eXp presented itself as an opportunity to really kind of achieve some of the freedoms we were looking for as real estate business owners, right? Absolutely important. And the opportunity itself was, we were paying for technology. eXp was going to give us technology. Okay, sounds pretty interesting. We were questing for scalability. eXp was going to offer us scalability. We could take our small little business and we could amplify it on eXp Realty's platform. We were looking for, as business owners, ways to diversify our income streams. We had started a property management company. We were looking at or working on investment properties ourselves. We were making our commission splits off of our agents. So we were looking for other income streams, right? We were looking at partnering up with title companies that would be able to produce income streams for us. We were looking at other ownership opportunities, right? Because as a business owner, trying to put together a model that works in pursuit of opportunity, you're trying to piece together all these things that make the model work. And eXp as a brokerage platform seemed to offer that like day one. So that's really, to answer your question, why I chose to make the move, why we chose to make the move, was because we saw the opportunity to shorten that curve to get to where we wanted to get with our independent brokerage. And frankly, the challenge of achieving that was so full of risk, so full of stress, so full of worry at our independent brokerage. eXp also kind of seemed like that might be a fun way to do it. That might be a way that eliminates the stress, eliminates the risk. And there's a whole lot I couldn't anticipate, which I imagine is part of your next question, is just, so then what'd you find when you got there? But I'll be quiet, and that was my answer.
No, and that's a great answer. You shared on so many topics there that we could literally starburst on probably 5 different things that you brought up, from opportunity to mindset to just figuring out a better way.
Yep.
And I think you would agree with this out there. And for all you viewers out there, is I felt the same way, where I was really stuck in some different mindsets in my business. Where did I want to go? Did I want to go big? Did I want to scale things down? Where did I want to be? Where was the opportunity? And then of course, when eXp Realty came along, it was like, well, wait a minute. This solves so many of my issues. I shouldn't say issues, but it solves so many things in my mind that I couldn't wrap my head around. And I think it's because, actually, let me rephrase that. I know it's because a model like this had not existed ever before. So for us to be able to now see something that provides clarity and answers and solutions to what we're trying to do right there in front of us was amazing. So just like you, I jumped on board, and you brought up something great, which made us both smile, of course, is the fun.
Right.
The fun that we're having. I've been selling homes for 16 years. I'm having more fun now than I ever have. And I don't know if I shared this with you, Kirtus, and I'm not sure how many folks I've shared this with publicly, and I will share this now, is about 3 years ago, I thought about getting out of the business.
Wow.
And it was some deep soul searching on what I really wanted to do. And here I am today having more fun, and I'm actually selling more homes than I had been the previous 2 years, or since I had moved to eXp in March of 2018. So back to what we were talking about. So you saw opportunity, you saw what was out there, you made the jump. Like you said, a lot of things were scary in the independent, and eXp Realty provided that platform for you to be able to progress your business forward. So now let's fast forward. You've moved on to eXp, you're digging things, you're learning systems and tools and all of that. What have you seen in the time that you've been with eXp Realty, and how long? And let the viewers know how long you've been there.
Sure.
That supports what you were thinking before you went in, and also what hesitations or things that scared you or concerns that you may have had before you made that move, do you not have anymore?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I want to address, before I really answer it, I kind of want to address what you said about yourself, right? And so what I'll say is I talk to agents all across the country all the time, right? As the program director, I talk to hundreds of agents and thousands of agents. I teach a bunch of classes in the world all the time. I do presentations all across the country. I talk to agents all the time. Every serious, dedicated professional agent is always looking for the answer to something. Always. Like, that's just truth. You're sitting there right now. If you're an agent and you're watching this video, you are looking for the answer to something. And so what you were sort of articulating is that we drive around as agents, we ask ourselves these questions, and they're not always articulated as clearly as I'm about to articulate them, but they're there. So one of the first questions you're asking yourself is, how can I just be more consistent? Like, how can I sell as many houses as I sold last month? How can I generate as many leads as I generated last month? How can I follow up as good as I followed up last month? How can I make as much money as I made last month? How can I spend as much time with my beautiful wife or kids as I did last month? You're asking yourself that as you're driving around, going to meet buyers, going to meet sellers. You've got a consistency question, and you're questing for the solution. That's one potential question. Another one that people are asking themselves all the time, if you're not just looking for consistency, you're at a place in your life where you're looking for another level. You're looking to boost performance, right? You sold one house last month. You want to sell two, right? You hired one agent last quarter. You want to hire three because you're trying to grow your team or your brokerage. You're looking for performance boost, or your profitability last month was 27%. You need it to be at 40, right? You're looking to grow up. You're asking yourself that question all the time. You're looking for an answer. And then this last one, man, this is part of my answer to what I've found at the brokerage that I didn't remember or really think I was looking for. You're asking yourself, how do you actually achieve the dream that is freedom? You're like, how do I set myself free? How am I actually going to have the life I want by design and not the life I want by accident? And again, people don't articulate this clearly in the back of their mind as they're out there opening a door for a buyer or negotiating a contract. But that's what they're thinking. That's why they're working. That's why you became an independent business owner. That's why you chose real estate, because the path to wealth creation is in ownership, and wealth creation is synonymous typically with freedom. And so oftentimes we're questing for this freedom. I just want to be free to make my own choices. I want to spend time with whoever I want to spend time with. I want to do whatever I want to do. I want to work on what I want to work on. I want to give what I want to give. I want to share an experience, whatever I want to share an experience. That's what we're all kind of questing for. So people are asking themselves that question all the time. So back to the beginning of my story, I talk to people all the time that once they found this brokerage like I did, so I've been with eXp for 2.5 years to answer your question. Once they find this brokerage, after about 6 to 12 months, what I hear is, man, I've been looking for this thing my whole life.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
For this opportunity my whole life. That's because as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, maybe as a young man or woman, you were questing for answers to those three problems: consistency, performance, and freedom. And then you get here, and what you find out is eXp, I've heard a lot of people say it, and I like to borrow this because I believe it's true. eXp is a self-development organization disguised as a real estate brokerage. The people that end up here and stick and flourish and thrive are people that are working in pursuit of progress on themselves daily, right? That's why we're talking, because you're looking to connect with and share with other people at the brokerage. That's why people are taking classes. That's why people are moving their businesses over, because they're looking to make progress in pursuit of kind of those three answers. So that's what I found in the brokerage to kind of answer your question. Is what eXp does is it just presents these opportunities or these possibilities to solve one, two, or all three of those questions, right? So if you're coming in and you're like, man, I'm trying to be more consistent. Okay, we'll give you a class schedule, some cadence. We'll give you some tools and some systems, and we'll give you some support. Those things in essence will help you solve your consistency problem if you choose to use them, right? There's the big caveat. Right. If you choose to use them, you want to talk about performance. Again, the people, the training, the culture, the tools, the systems, those things will boost your performance if you'll come in and use them. You talked about selling more houses. There's a program at eXp that I'm sure people know about it. And if you don't, it's called the Icon Agent Award. It's an award at eXp. It's an incentive award. Basically, if you sell more houses and produce at a higher level, then you will be rewarded and treated like an owner and be awarded shares of stock back in the company to repay your cap pay-in, right? So you get your cap back in the form of company stock. That's an incentive that will actually boost performance inherently. Because you come in, you're selling 25, 30 houses a year at your current brokerage. You look up at eXp and you're like, man, my cap is $16,000. I could get that thing back if I just hit that award. I'll sure sell 6 more houses. Give me that award back, right? Like I want that. So that's a performance booster. And then the freedom, you and I were talking about this before the kickoff to this conversation. Now I'm sitting in my home office in San Antonio, Texas. Historically, throughout my life, I've not been sitting in a home office. I've been getting up at 6 a.m. and leaving by 7 a.m. to go to my bricks and mortar office. And in my real estate team, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, before we were really settled at eXp, I was leaving every day, 12 hours a day, away from my family, away from my kids, my wife, away from the comforts of my home. And that freedom didn't exist in the way it does today. But instead now, in 2019, I've traveled 7 different times this year for more than 3 days. I've brought my family with me half of those times. We did a 46-day freedom trip where, as an employee and an agent, I worked anywhere I wanted to, from California to Minnesota. That's the freedom, man. And so that's what I found exists here if you just sort of tap into it.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? I'm so glad you brought up these 3 points, because what I had just mentioned as far as my my thoughts going into my business 3-4 years ago, mostly,
Yep.
it was the inability to be consistent. Now I was consistent, but I wanted to grow.
Yep.
So I was consistently staying the same,
Yep.
trying different things to build even more consistency in possibly some other areas, thinking, well, what I'm doing is working, but I need to be doing something different to be getting bigger and better, right?
Yep.
And that wasn't happening. The performance levels, well, maybe those were as a result of trying all these different things to try and be consistent. And you know, being in this business, there are so many shiny objects and so many things that we can jump on. It's the next big thing to go down.
Yep.
And then that freedom part, like we're all searching for that. And I didn't have that. And I wanted that so bad.
Right.
And I had built up a business to 30, 35 million a year. I had also done 6 transactions in a year. So it was this balancing act. And what we found was that, and you found this and I found this as well, is the opportunity with eXp provides those, it provides the answers to those, provides the tools, the models, and the systems for the things that we've never had before in the real estate industry. See, the model's changed. The traditional brick and mortar franchise real estate model, it's been around for 102, 103 years. And it's been challenged in certain ways, but not to the extent that eXp Realty is doing now. And we are examples of that, being that we've been in different situations and moving in. So super exciting times, man. I mean, gosh, it's crazy to think that, you know, here we are a couple of years after joining the company, and it's like our lives are totally different, aren't they?
Totally different. Like every day is a new day, man. It's completely different than the day before. And, you know, that's kind of one message for anybody who's watching. I just want to leave you with that idea, right? That if you want something different, like different results, right? You want different results, then you know this, but I'm going to give you the reverse engineer formula. You want different results, you got to go back and change your actions, right? You got to do something different. You have to do something different. Well, how do you do something different? Well, then you got to go back one step further and you have to change your thinking, right? So thinking changes your actions, changes your results. So you have to change your thinking. So if you're sitting here watching this or whenever you're watching it and you're thinking about, I want something different next year, I want different results, or I want something different next month, well, then you have to go do something different today. You got to do something different, right? If you're an agent and you're not selling as many houses as you want to sell, then you're going to have to go to class more, or you're going to have to go find a mentor, or you're going to have to partner with better partners. You're going to have to do something different.
You're going to have to work harder. You're going to have to work more. You're going to have to go through what we've been through.
Generate more leads.
Do that anymore.
Right.
That's the exciting piece, is that you and I and 25,000 eXp agents now, we know this because we've now experienced it. And it to some degree, it is hard to, or somewhat difficult to explain it per se. However, right, because it's all in here. It's like, what's the quote? Knowledge is power, where you and I would agree that applied knowledge is actually power. So we know this stuff, but now we've experienced it. So the knowledge and the experience collectively is showing the results that we want in our lives and in our businesses. And yeah, it's awesome. So, well, Mr. Kirtus, anything else that you would like to share with our viewers today before I let you go?
Go to work on your thinking. Go change your paradigms. Rewrite some stuff. That's what I'd encourage you to go do. Just change the way you think and believe about things, and watch what you think about and believe change.
I agree with you. And to dovetail off of that, it's when opportunities, when everything is going great and we're thinking, oh, life is great, business is great, that's when we tend to close our minds to opportunities. However, if you're out there and you're watching this and everything's great in your business, everything's great in your personal life, finances, but you know there's still something missing, where you know that there's that next level, reach out. Let us know. We're happy to chat with you and share the opportunity with eXp Realty and what we're doing. And Kirtus, it's almost the top of the hour. We need to get to our agent leadership meeting.
Let's get there, man.
Isn't that cool? We can just flip over to the next screen, and all of a sudden now we're going to be in a room with
my office is on this screen, right?
900
our
people.
Meeting's up here. The office is right here.
I know.
I appreciate you, man.
Opened up over here. Thanks, Kirtus.
Good to see you.
Love you, brother. Take care, man.
Love you too.
See ya.